start, Nick was saying, kind of wondering how best to help people that have been affected by the fire and kind of the trauma of it. Is that right?
That's correct.
So really the most important thing to be doing is just allowing people a space to talk through what's happened. And there's some really clever kind of brain science behind the way we lay down memories, and you lay down memories differently if it's a particularly traumatic time, and giving people a chance to use words to verbalize the experience helps to store the memories properly. So it's really important to do. And you don't want to shortcut people's own ability to kind of have their resilience and to get through it. So you don't want to kind of swoop in and do too much in terms of trying to make it okay and fix problems, kind of the emotional, psychological problems, because people need time to realize that they've got the strength in themselves. So just being there to support people, listening and being encouraging and loving and supportive is the most important thing. You don't want to do too much. You just need to give them a safe space to be able to talk through what happened and label the emotions as well as the facts of what happened. So you want that mix of, this is actually what happened and this is how I was feeling, this is what I was thinking, to get a really kind of get the whole picture together. So just giving people that space really to do that is really good.
Yeah. Anything specific to business people? It's one thing to have a job, turn up on my job, or I can't turn up. And it's another thing to then carry the weight of, I've got 8 people, or for example, the principal of the school where I am, where 17 of his staff or children have lost their homes, 27 at another school. And so that's 24 members of Bethel Church have lost their homes.
Wow.
So being the leader in that organization where you've got that, anything different or specific for those people?
I think where the person in charge, if they're just supporting people who've lost homes and things, but they haven't themselves, then it's the same kind of principle of allowing the person who's had the loss to use their own strength with the support of others, so they don't feel they've had to rely on the leader. It's quite a nice chance for people to kind of draw on their own resources while using the people around them. So in some ways it's a bit of it can be quite hard, I think, when people feel responsible for people underneath them. You want to step in and you want to look after them, you want to make it all okay and let them depend on you, and actually that's not as helpful. You want to help people to help themselves. So maybe something for leaders and kind of managers to just beware of not doing too much, of not taking over and just facilitating someone to look after themselves. And I think where the business people and leaders themselves have lost homes and things like that, there can be a need to just think a little bit about their role and how they feel. Because I think when someone's used to being in charge, they're used to being in control, they've set things up, it's their business, it's, you know, what they do, to have that taken away, to not be in control, because obviously it's a fire, they had no say in it. Actually, that's got its challenges to itself, that just feel like I'm used to being in control and I'm suddenly not in control. I'm used to being a businessman and I'm not a businessman now because my business is gone. And just kind of having a chance to look at their role and how their role has temporarily shifted, or perhaps, you know, we're not all as in control as we think we are, and having to just adjust a little bit. So there can just be a few different kind of things there to think about you're in control in some ways and not in others, and that's okay. And just having that space to kind of get that conflict and be okay with the uncertainty and not being able to manage everything.
Really good. What about the whole taking care of yourself and your family, then, you know, employees, managing that, because some you just have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
But how do you know how much to take care of yourself? How do you know, giving yourself room? Any thoughts around that part of it?
Yeah, just masses basically. Just, yeah, you have to be looking after yourself first and giving yourself the time, yourself and your family, what you need. Because if you're not doing, then actually you do a disservice to the people that you are trying to look after, because you don't have the resources to give what they need. And that's it's so easy to fall into that trap of putting other people's needs before your own and your family's, and then you get burnt out. You're not giving them what they need. You're giving lots of time, but actually the quality of what you can give is just much poorer. So yeah, taking the time that you need for you, for your family. Actually, if that means less time for others, you're probably giving much better input when you do give that time. It's so hard to do. It really, really is. But I think we all have those kind of early warning signs that we need to be taking a rest. We need to take some time out. And I think just being really in tune with that. So if I know I'm starting to get a bit tired when I know I'm getting a bit snappy, or I feel like I'm getting a bit upset at things that wouldn't upset me, and probably even earlier signs, just being really mindful and looking out for those, so that you don't end up thinking, actually, I've gone for 6 hours longer than I should have, and you've missed that point where you could have taken a step back and productively kind of looked after yourself and others. So yeah, being aware of your own triggers, your own warning signs you're getting tired, and doing something. It can feel quite selfish to feel like, I'm out, this evening, I'm not doing anything, I'm just being with my family. But it's not at all, because you can give so much better when you're then back around other people.
Yeah. We've been talking or hearing reports from a fire near here about 12 months ago, and from the churches, and what they observed in both the people that were affected by the fire and then the first responders in the weeks that followed. So not the immediate, but the following weeks and months, the level of substance abuse in both parties, groups of people, just skyrocketed. Which I'm assuming there's a result of not taking care of ourselves. Feeling, someone said, the adrenaline that I get and that feel-good factor by helping somebody else, mask for dealing with my own pain.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Yeah, I just agree entirely. Yeah.
And so listening to you, I'm thinking, what I'm hearing you say is, so the best thing I can do for my family is, we're going back into our house today, assuming we can move back in, then I need to just let it settle, give them the space, and then I need to intentionally get the family together and just create a space for them to talk about. Now, talk to me, what's your experience? What's the highs and the lows of this week? And just let it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think your job in that regard is exactly like you said. It's to create that safe space, give people the chance to talk through and process the facts of what happened, how it made them feel, without forcing it. So if someone isn't kind of sharing much about their feelings,
hurry up, get it off your chest.
Yeah, exactly. Just making it feel okay. And I think modeling as well. So for you to, if you're thinking, people aren't really giving very much, they're not making themselves very vulnerable, for you to be the one to take the lead of doing that, of saying, actually, this has felt horrible, I was really scared, I'm really upset, that kind of thing makes it okay for other people to do it. So yeah, that kind of modeling that it's okay to share these emotions, it's safe, it can be contained and held. So yeah,
that's good. And I need to do that for myself, which I need to talk to myself.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I was saying the way about memories work, laying down the memories, it can feel a bit weird, but actually speaking it out or recording it rather than just thinking it through in your head, actually saying the words when you're on your own of, actually, okay, so on Monday morning, I heard they were going to be like, just going through it as if it's, a film that you're first person, this is what happened to me, can be really, really helpful.
Yeah. And we're noticing a friend of ours, actually, he's writing that. He's actually writing it on social media, which initially was dark and scary. And he's actually processed through, and he's through the other side. They lost their house, lost everything. And it's becoming beautiful, phenomenally beautiful. He needs to pull the whole thing together and turn it into a book.
Wow, yeah.
It really is incredible. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll give Nick back to you.
Didn't I marry well?